Yo, what's up? Whoa, shit. I was about to pull out, but then, yeah, I could pull out like a bad Norwegian, but I will actually let some traffic pass me since I'm slow poking. But anyway, we are now sitting in a BYD tank. Well, I mean BYD Tang. And yeah, I was talking to the live stream, and they gave me an idea that, dude, you have to talk about this. This is very important. I'm like, okay, let's talk about this. So today's topic is about charging station placement. And a little, oh shit, I have to change some ND filter here. A little background here. So I have driven, let me think here, since 2013, I've been driving electric. That's 9 years. I've been driving 9 years and roughly 100,000 kilometers per year. Well, damn, is that close to 1 million kilometers, electric kilometers? So that means I can safely say that I've been driving a lot electric, charging a lot electric. And I have some opinions about where the charging station should be placed at. So this was based on a discussion on my Facebook page. Some guy, they claims that it's silly to put high power chargers on a gas station. He mentioned it's something like, this is like it's like selling vegan food at the butcher shop or something. Like, huh? What the heck are you talking about? You stop smoking pot. Yeah. No, but in my opinion, it makes perfect sense to have high power charger at gas stations. Gas stations should be renamed to energy stations. But okay, anyway, so what I'm saying is, okay, we can start with, let's say, start with the highest power, right? Gas stations. Why does it make sense to put high power chargers at gas stations? High power chargers, I think per definition, is faster than, how much is this? Is it faster than 100 kilowatt or faster than 120 kilowatt? They call it HPC, but technically HPC charger is then high power charger, just like non means bread. So if you say non-bread, that's, smell per flask, that's double, yeah. But in my opinion, with my heavy experience with driving and charging a lot, gas stations are perfect for high power chargers, because usually when you want to high power charge, you are usually on a road trip, and typically you've been driving for a while, 1,000 kilometer challenge or road, yeah. You've been driving for a while, and you just need to take a break, pee break typically after you empty out the battery. Nowadays, modern cars, they can drive at least 2, 3, 4 hours before you have to stop and charge. But during that charging stop, most modern cars nowadays, they need roughly 15 minutes to top up to 50%, and then maybe another a total of 30 minutes to charge up to, let's say, 80%. But it means that at the gas station, you don't want to spend too long at the gas station, but once you have a food break, you will see that time flies, and you can easily spend let's say half an hour at the at the gas station if you go for a burger. But if you only go for a quick snack and some pee break, then 15 minutes would be enough. But what I'm saying is that gas stations are perfect for high power chargers because they're located right by the highway. You don't have to take any weird detours. Again, I have so much experience with this. I've been driving for so many years, and many times when I go on road trips, especially in France, I don't know what's up with France, I have to take a weird detour to go to some hotel. Like, I might have to drive up to 5 minutes away from this French autoroute, and then suddenly there is a supercharger site at a hotel. I'll come back to hotels, by the way. And normally, okay, some hotels, they might offer food, so that's fine, but I might not want food. Maybe I just want to buy some snack. So, but then you are kind of forced to eat at the hotel's restaurant there if it's open. And opening hours is another thing, by the way, is that people travel, at least as long as you're not in no man's land like Norway. Many places throughout Europe, the gas stations are open 24/7 because people, they travel on all times of the year, right? So one requirement for me, or one very nice feature, is if the charging station has 24/7 gas station, because what I need when I charge on a typical road trip is to go to the restroom. That's almost like my primary need. Secondary need, very important, is also food. whatever. It can be snack, it can even be a freaking vending machine, okay? Maybe if they have cup noodles or snack, but at least some more food like gas stations typically offer. And then gas station also has some other nice bonus, like you can clean the windscreen while you're charging, or maybe you want to check your air pressure, for example, right? So the gas stations, they already offer stuff for a car, because after all, you're driving a car with 4 wheels and a windshield, just like fossil cars. They have many similarities. So it makes sense to put high power chargers at gas stations. Okay, they will never, or for the longest time now, they will never charge as fast as fossil cars, but it doesn't matter, because when you look at it, how many people park the car in front of the pump and then fills up within a couple of minutes and then hammer it? They don't. They might actually dick around at the gas station longer than just 5 minutes. They might park somewhere and then stay there and eat for half an hour. That's what I find myself doing back in the days when I had diesel cars. But okay, so that is the whole point with, in my opinion, gas stations, superb, because gas stations have short detour time, or they're right by the highway, not some awkward hotel or some other weird, like shopping mall. Also shopping malls throughout Europe, Tesla superchargers are typically placed near shopping mall. I think the problem with Tesla is that they don't always get the permission to build at the gas station, so they have to resort to the second best option, which is a shopping mall. But normally when I'm on a trip, like, how many of you guys drive fossil car and you will, oh, okay, let's drive to a hotel and fill up dinosaur juice there, or let's drive to a shopping mall and fill up some dinosaur juice? You don't. You just want to go to the gas station right near the highway, fill up, and then keep going. And that's basically what I want as when I'm on a road trip. Okay, next location is shopping malls then. So when you have a shopping mall, there you would typically spend more than just 15 minutes. It depends, of course, but a shopping mall, you could spend somewhere between 15 minutes until maybe several hours. And in my opinion, shopping malls, having high power charger at shopping mall is overkill. The reason why Tesla places it there is because they did not manage to place it right by the highway, which is the more ideal placement. So I think on shopping malls, you should have something like at least 7.4 kilowatt to 22 kilowatt, but not many cars can take 22 kilowatt, so it's also kind of overkill to go for that one. But at least many cars nowadays, they have 7.4 kilowatt onboard charger or 11 kilowatt. So if you can have, the best would be to have load balancing and offer, okay, maybe if lots of cars are charging, you get only 3.7 kilowatt, but in most cases you get maybe at least 7.4 to 11 kilowatt. That should be sufficient for many people. And then, but it should also be, there should be a small price for it. It shouldn't be completely free, in my opinion, because otherwise people might hog those slots without, you know, needing it. That's one option for those guys who know they're going to spend maybe several hours at the shopping mall. And then there could also be a few 50 kilowatt fast charger, or maybe 75 if in the future we should get rid of those 50 kilowatt because it's kind of outdated. So for those people who don't want to spend several hours at the shopping mall, and then at least 75 kilowatt would work for them, right? For about 15 minutes, half an hour, and they just have a snack and then they go. For example, there might be some situations where, of course, you're not on a road trip, but you are visiting a shopping mall to do something and you just want to top up. So the main point being that you want to fill up the battery when you're doing something else. This also applies to the first case with the gas station. That's the unique thing with Tesla, with EVs, is that you can just plug in and then you can just do something else. With fossil cars, you kind of have the whole mindset that you have to refuel and then you do whatever. And then, but the time you spend waiting for the fueling queue and the time you spend refueling is kind of lost time. You don't do anything. And it's because of safety in Norway and many countries, you can't just lock the pistol and fill up the gas. You have to stay there and hold the pistol. And while you're doing that, you can't even clean the windscreen unless you have several people in the car that can do that. But okay, a lot of stuff to talk about. But so in my opinion, shopping malls, that's it. Next one, hotels. Hotels, again, should not have high power chargers. But like I mentioned, okay, many Tesla superchargers just happen to be at hotels. Maybe because that's the only location Tesla managed to make a deal with in that country. So in a way, yeah, I guess it kind of works, but ideally, I think hotels should offer just AC charging. But it needs to be fast enough, so it should be 7.4 to maybe 11, but no, I think actually just 7.4 kilowatt. It sounds crazy, right? But I think 11 to 22 kilowatt is a bit overkill, because most cars nowadays, they don't have 22 kilowatt, that's one thing, but they need overnight they can fully charge the battery or get close to 90% if you have 7.4 kilowatt or 11 kilowatt anyway. And what do you do at the hotel? Do you go there for lunch? Well, I guess that's more rare case. Many people, they go to the hotel to sleep over, and which means that they usually have I don't know, 6 to 12 hours they stay there. Mean average might be at least 10 hours, which means that if you have 7.4 kilowatt, you can in most cases fill up the whole battery. But if you have only Shuko, which is dog slow, or 3.6 kilowatt, 3.7 kilowatt, then that's not going to cut it. And then that means that you might start the car, if it's a big fat battery, you might start the next day with 50% battery. You want to start the next day with at least 90 to 100%. And then again, for hotels, the best would be to have load balancing, but also the hotel should offer more than just 1 or 2 charging points. They should have at least 10 or 20, or yeah, lots of stalls, you know, because they could be, eventually there will be lots of more customers, EV customers, and if you just have one, that's the problem. Again, based on my experience, if you just have 1 or 2 charging spots, then when I travel with Wi-Fi, when I went on a road trip, I wasn't sure whether I can get that spot or not. And then, because ideally you want to arrive at the hotel with 10%, right? And then you just plug in for the night, and then you don't have to waste time charging on the way there. But if I arrive there with 10% and the charging points are occupied, then I need to kind of start the next day with 10% and cold battery, and I need to start the day by fast charging with a cold battery, and that will be a waste of time. So what I end up doing is to kind of just have to make sure I have enough, and then maybe charge at 50%, right? Or I have to call the reception, ask them if they have enough space there. So ideally we have to have enough space there or something like that, so that we don't have to worry. What else? Other places, yeah, okay. And then I guess the list goes on. Also, very commonly in Norway, you will have charging stations at the grocery stores. Grocery stores, normally you don't spend too long at grocery stores, right? So normally for me, I spend somewhere between 5 and 15 minutes at grocery stores, but that's when I'm alone. I just bam, shop, and then done, deal, and check out. But some people might spend a little bit longer at grocery stores, supermarket. So what I mean is that at grocery stores, 50 kilowatt would make sense. But what it should be is that it should be some kind of load balance stuff. Okay, like Kempower, for example. So you can actually go to the grocery store and get 150 kilowatt from the Kempower. But if all the stalls are taken for some reason, then maybe you get a minimum of 50 kilowatt. But in that case, I think AC would be a waste of time on the grocery store, because like for me, again, based on experience, when I go to the grocery store, even if there's free juice there, I don't bother plugging it in, because I know it would just be for 5 minutes, so it's kind of pointless unless you're sunnmøring. Yeah, you know, then you want to take out the Type 2 cable and get some free juice. And by the way, in my opinion, it should all the places I mentioned, it should not be free. That's the thing. Even at hotels, okay, you can say, well, it should be included in a hotel, right? No, in my opinion, it should not be free, because free juice is always troublesome, because people who don't need it will hog it and freaking plug in hybrid shit, will hog it and block it. Yeah, by the way, in my opinion, plug-in hybrids should not be allowed to charge at those stations because, well, actually, that's the problem, right? Because where the heck are they supposed to charge it, right? Okay, that one is a delicate question about plug-in hybrids, because the problem that I've seen, again, many times, is that at hotels, freaking plug-in hybrids are blocking the chargers, and they normally finish charging within a couple of hours. But an EV might need more than, like, an EV might need 6 to 10 hours to fully charge. And then that's kind of waste of resource. It could be even as bad as this, that some plug-in hybrid owners, they arrive there in the afternoon hours at the hotel, and then they block they take the charging station, and then during the evening, the plug-in hybrid finishes charging, but they don't move the car. And they block it for potential other EV owners who might need that one. So the solution is to have some kind of load balancing and have plenty of spots. That's one solution. Or you can actually say that plug-in hybrids, they have let's say a 2-hour parking. You can charge there for no more than 2 hours. Then you have to move the car, otherwise you get a fine. But it doesn't apply to EVs. That could solve the problem, because most plug-in hybrids, they don't need more than 2 hours typically to fill up the tiny battery, and it will cover 99% of the cases. That would be the best of both worlds. And what other cases do we have? So we have the grocery store, we have the other places. Again, let's say like a museum or a gym. Then you have to look at each case. It boils down to how much time do you spend there at the gym or at the whatever, right? And also, you also have to look at the use case. Like when you are going to the gym, you're probably not on a road trip. You know, you're probably just home, and then you go to the gym, and then it depends. But if you don't have home charging, maybe you want to get some charging done while you're at the gym. And then typically you might spend, well, I actually don't know, but you might spend 1.5 hours at the gym. But I noticed that Maya actually spend usually 1.5 to 2 hours at the gym. So, okay, if that's the case, then you can get a lot of charging done. But at the gym, high power charger is overkill. 50 kilowatt is also overkill. Well, I guess it depends. If you go there with a fat e-tron, yes, you might need 1.5 to 2 hours to fully charge the battery, but who does that? That's more like corner case. So at the gym, I would suggest something like similar to a shopping mall, right? That you have some AC, lots of AC charging spots, 7.4 to maybe 11 kilowatt. But by the way, I think 22 kilowatt is overkill, because not many cars can support it nowadays, and it seems like many car manufacturers, they don't want to prioritize 22 kilowatt, because then the hardware becomes slightly heavier and slightly more expensive, and I think they are aiming more towards good DC fast charging. And yeah, so the AC is more like primary charging source. But it was different back in the days when we had not many DC, or when we didn't have many high power chargers, or when a high power charger did not exist. Then 22 kilowatt made more sense. But today, since we have so many high power chargers and so many high power charging cars, then I think it doesn't make too much sense with it. But what else? So I mean, there are many cases out there, right? Many different locations I've seen. But I've experienced and I've seen locations where, in my opinion, they put the wrong charging power or the charging equipment on that location. Okay, but actually I should mention also Zoe owners, because Zoe, the classic Zoes, they simply need 22 kilowatt. So I'm not sure how to deal with those guys because they will always complain that, oh, for them they don't have any more 22 kilowatt AC. Where heck are we gonna charge your cars? Okay, sorry, Mac. I don't know how to deal with the classic Zoe. I mean, like every EV out there, they should be designed to have DC support. Like even the triplet had DC support, right? You know, the iMIEV and those cars. Even the Leaf had DC. So designing a car back in the days, like actually the Ford, also the Ford Focus, without, and also the Mercedes B-Class electric, without DC is just big facepalm, and in my opinion a design flaw, especially because during that time DC or CHAdeMO or something was available as a charging option, but they just chose not to include it when they designed the car. So in my opinion, we have to look forward and not look back at the mistake. We shouldn't design the the charging locations to be backward compatible with all the Zoes out there, or we shouldn't have to put 22 kilowatt AC at gas stations. Okay, because in my opinion, some people might disagree, but in my opinion, I think that 22 kilowatt does not belong at a gas station. I might get lots of protest here, but in my opinion, gas stations should have HPC, or at some extent 50 to 75 kilowatt chargers. So, okay, maybe if you know you're gonna stay there longer, then you can go for 50 kilowatt, not high power charger, right? But ideally, what you need is some kind of like maybe Kempower. Kempower should be able to do it, since they have load balancing and stuff, and different. They could do something like this, that but you can choose the power, or actually even better, instead of choosing, you can say that, okay, I'm going to stay at this location for 1 hour, and then let the charger choose how fast you want to charge. And then because Kempower is so sophisticated, it can detect which car it is and know the battery size. Even it's super sophisticated compared to some of the other charge point operators that tends to be like dinosaur in comparison. So Kempower could detect that. You say when you want to finish or how long you want to charge, and then it will choose. Let's say it will average only 40 kilowatt or 60 kilowatt based on the battery size. And actually what it can do is that it can give you some option that you just say when you want to finish charging, and then the price per kilowatt hour will be lower if you choose to not charge that fast. You know, but this will only work on a site that has enough stalls, and that option should not be available if, let's say, more than 80% of the stalls are occupied, because then there is a chance of Laderstau if people do that, you know. But that's in a perfect world, and actually I'm just saying this like dream on, like build your dreams, like I'm driving now, right? But it is actually technical possible what I'm saying now. The hardware can do it. It just boils down to the charge point operator implementing it, and it will actually make life easier. And by the way, who cares about the cost? I talked to Ioniq. I have some insight in Ioniq, and it turns out that Ioniq, they have seen more and more people charging at Ioniq now. Ever since they introduced the Ioniq Passport, actually Teslas start charging at Ioniq rather than at supercharger. Why? Because they can save money. They are sunnmøringer. They want to save money, and they queue up and wait. And Ioniq could even tell me that some people were queuing up at Ioniq, and there were 50 kilowatt available, but they chose to not use it because the 50 kilowatt was more expensive than Ioniq. So they rather wait 15-20 minutes and get Ioniq and save some money, because it's actually quite cheap, Ioniq, if you charge a lot and if you go for the Ioniq Passport, or if you have the Ioniq deal like via Volkswagen or BMW, you get dirt cheap charging. Yeah, it means that yes, it actually makes sense to not charge at high C rating if you don't need it. And in my opinion, it's kind of silly that you if you plug in, now we're actually touching into different topics, by the way, not the original topic, but I find this also interesting that when you plug in your German electro auto, right, a BMW i4, for example, boom, you get 200 kilowatt, boom, and you go really fast to 50%, and then you start throttling. But you might not, by the way, we are passing by some Kempower over here. Yeah, there you go. 1, 2, 3, 4 Kempower. Yeah, but so you will get you get that maximum speed, but basically what you're doing is you're hurting the battery, and you might not need to charge that fast, but there is no option. Okay, some cars you can enable that eco option, like in the Mercedes, in the Porsche Taycan, but that's actually a different feature in a way, and it's not that flexible. You just have to, it's like an on-off switch, or there's like an eco mode to charge slower, a lot slower, or yeah, you can't choose, right? It's not that flexible. You can't just say you want to charge over 50 minutes. But yeah, that will actually limit. So they already have that feature to preserve the longevity of the battery. But that's just a feature that some cars have. But actually with the Kempower, you can unlock power, or you can do that in the charger. You know, once you realize how much you can do with the charger, you know, you can do so much. The charger can give you so many cool features, like you can see the charger status on the Kempower, right? You know, traditionally chargers are quite dumb, but it doesn't have to be like that. They can be way smarter, and they can give you lots of cool features. So yeah, how long is this chat now? 26 minutes. Normally I would chat for an hour. Maybe I'll make this slightly shorter. But so bottom line is that every charging site needs, like, each charging site needs different charging power or chargers, in my opinion, right? But it's not always going to be like this. But this could be interesting for the charge point operators like Ioniq or Fortum Recharge or Mer. If they bother watching my videos, they can get some insight in at least what I think as some kind of self-nominated EV expert. No, but really, okay, who gives a shit about my opinion, right? But at least my input, my 2 cents is that charge point operators, and I guess also you guys, can choose, right? You can decide what is best, because wait, I have to check here. Am I going the right way? I have to check something. Delete this one, remove. Okay, come on. 70 kilometers. Okay, I think I'm fine. Yeah, I'm doing an OnlyFans run. I have to pay attention that I don't do some weird shit here. Okay. Yeah, but think about this. When you go to charge your car, have you noticed where it is? Right? When you're on a road trip, sometimes you end up at a shopping mall, or sometimes you end up at worst case an industrial zone, and sometimes at a gas station. Usually, in general, Ioniq, they are really good at choosing the good location. I don't know if they have a deal with Circle K or something, but they usually get the nice spots at a gas station. But then Tesla end up getting the worst spot outside some hotel or shopping mall, which in my opinion is not optimal. But I want to ask you guys, where do you prefer charging your car, and in which scenario? Do you agree with me, or yeah, let's have a little healthy discussion here. Well, let me change the ND filter here, because does it make sense when I say that, yeah, when you are on a road trip scenario, you want to stop at gas station, but when you are, well, but then it depends, because once you arrive at your destination, or restaurant, I forgot about restaurants. I should mention restaurants also. Restaurants, it depends, but restaurants, I would say that you usually spend, it depends if it's a fast food chain or like a more like a better place to dine. Then depending on which kind of restaurant, then if it's a typical fast food chain like McDonald's, then actually high power charger makes perfect sense at those places. Except for one thing, you still need to eat that food. Which means that it might take just 5 minutes to order the food and get it, but you might need 15 minutes or longer to eat the food. And this is why you typically don't see me eat McDonald's or Max burgers on my 1,000 kilometer challenge, simply because nowadays the cars charge so fast, so I even don't have time for McDonald's. But it depends, because I tend to charge to only 50-60% and then I hammer it. But of course, if you could travel with a family, all that, it might make more sense. But I would say that in at food places, it's not a typical, well, it depends. You can go there for a coffee, it depends, but in a way, yes, a high power charger at fast food chains might make sense, but high power charger at like a nicer restaurant where you spend 1 to 2 hours at, it makes no sense to have high power charger. There, we can treat it more like a shopping mall or the gym. Like it's either AC or maybe 50 kilowatt. Yeah, but because for me though, when I was on my road trips with wifey, I would try to find a place to charge while I'm doing something else, whether it's eating, typically eating, or I don't know, we could even walk the dog or something. So as long as you can find a place that doesn't require too much detour, and you can then do your shit, whatever that is, while the car is charging, that is the best. That is the best for the car, because EVs, they have the power to choose the power, if you know what I mean. EVs, you can charge slower at a lower price, or even free, but I still claim that free is not the best solution, but at least lower price. That would be great, right? If you can choose a gas station. Like, okay, you go to the regular gas station, it costs you, like let's say in Norway, it costs you 25 NOK per liter, or let's say 2 euros, 2.5 euros per liter in Europe. But wouldn't it be great if you would have like a slow filling gas station at the shopping mall, where you just have to plug in your pump, and then you get the dinosaur juice at only 1 euro per liter, right? How many people would go there and fill up the gas cars? Like, it would be overloaded, really. But that's basically the power of the EVs, that they can do that. And you just plug, and also most important is that you just, in the example of the fossil car, you just plug in the pistol, and then you just leave it there, and it will slowly fill up fossil juice while you're doing something else. But that doesn't work. But okay, you can just fill it up, but technically, if you don't have to go to the gas station, if you don't have to do anything at the gas station, then going to the gas station is a waste of time. Whereas in Norway is the perfect example. We have so many high power chargers in Norway, or in general, so many chargers in Norway, so that either for me, when I'm just around Oslo, I never charge outside my home, because I have so good range to go. I could even go further away and I still don't have to charge the car. But in case where I'm on, let's say, a vacation or something, or in case I don't have home charging, which is kind of a weird case, right? Then you can always fill up your battery somewhere, usually in Norway. And then in the future, other countries will be like Norway, that you have plenty of charging options. You can choose to fill up the car fast at the gas station, or even at the shopping mall, or slower at slower at the shopping mall, like I said, yeah. And that means that if you don't have any business to do at the gas station, then you don't have to visit it. So that's actually one thing that is never mentioned when people talk about how much time you waste by charging the car. First of all, they blindly look at, okay, how many minutes does it take to charge the car? Okay, and we say, oh, it takes half an hour. And then they automatically think, okay, half an hour, that's a lot slower than filling up in 5 minutes. That is true, but that is not the entire part of the picture. You have to look at what you actually do during the fill up, because if you're eating or sleeping or shopping or exercising during the time it takes to fill up the battery, then you are not really waiting for the car. The car is doing something, you are doing something. But of course, in the case where you have to sit and wait for the car to finish, then that's waste of time. But like I said, if the infrastructure is planned good enough, and just like in Norway is awesome when it comes to charging infrastructure, then, and if you are more like, you are aware of what's going on and you pick the locations wisely, then in my opinion, my claim is that you are not wasting time on charging, and you will actually be saving time, since you don't have to visit gas stations. And if you actually start looking at it, because remember guys, I used to own fossil cars. I had the Renault 5, I had the Renault Laguna 1, I had the Renault Laguna 2, I had the BMW 525D. I have spent lots of time taking a detour to visit the gas station, and I didn't have any other business to do at the gas station. I typically would use those fully automated gas stations anyway, but I will still have to take that extra detour. I have to initiate paying, and I have to stand there and fill up the tank, and that is wasted time when you think about this, because I was just driving locally and I had to waste time. And then you can look at the time you spend per year taking that detour to fill up that gas versus, of course, when you're on a road trip and you might have to wait a little bit for charging. Like, how much time do you waste on a fossil car per year in minutes or hours versus how much time do you waste on an EV when you have to wait for charging? I'm not talking about when the car charges and you're eating anyway, right? And I think, I'm not sure, but I think that with a modern and efficient and fast charging EV like a Tesla or a fat e-tron or something, okay, it doesn't have to be, okay, something, but not something important, not something very expensive. It could even be an SR Plus. It could be even this car here, the BYD Tang. Then you charge so fast that you will either save time or you will not waste time. That's my claim. Yeah. Some bold claims, of course. It's hard for me to prove anything because I have to then start counting every minute, or we have to try to calculate how much time the fossil drivers are wasting versus how much time they are saving by not having laderstau or all that stuff. But yeah, laderstau, that's a different story. But you even have benzinstau anyway, right? So okay, the video here became a little bit longer. I touched into other topics, but they are kind of connected. But bottom line is that charge point operators need to be slightly more aware of what they install, because I've seen, okay, by the way, I can keep talking. I have seen this, that, wait, do I need ND filter? Yeah. I've seen this, that some places, like for example, gas stations. I've seen some gas stations, they used to have 22 kilowatt AC, but then after some years they removed them, which is kind of waste of money and resources. Or I've seen also at Circle K, they used to have AC and they removed them, and then they put up some DC instead, for example. And also those places where, like those industrial zones where there's just one single charger, or car dealership also. Some car dealership, they put up a high power charger, like the one in Narvik. Okay, that one was in walking distance to Circle K, so at least you can go to Circle K and make use of the time you're spending. But I also been at some places in Germany where I will be at this awkward industrial zone, nothing there to do, and it's kind of creepy at night, and that's kind of bad planning. But it's not well organized, because it's usually just some single small company that puts it there without too much planning. They just want to have a high power charger, they want to offer it, which is great. But at least the bigger companies like Ioniq and Tesla and Recharge, and they will not put high power chargers there. So I'm getting hammered. Yes, come on. Yeah. It was a Polo. He used all his 100 horsepower. But yeah, so I don't know what you guys think, huh? Was this useful? Hopefully this will spark some interesting discussions and give some insight to the charge point operators, because I've heard that many charge point operators and also even charging hardware manufacturers watch my videos. So hopefully this was insightful. And maybe also the consumers, you guys who use as a charge point, you will be more aware of, like, hey, that makes sense, right? Bjørn said, I mean, why do we have to take this weird detour to a hotel? And why shouldn't it should be at the gas station? Or, yeah. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna stop now. So yes, I think that's gonna be it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, thank you for watching, and talk to you later.